I guess got up a little bit earlier than I need to get up for this little job I'm going to. That's cool. I've been there in a while. So I had a conversation with the dude I tell my team partner last night, and I told him there's a chance Trump could be reelected. And he's like, he doesn't understand how. And I think looking back, it's because, and it's sometimes me and him talks confusion. I think he thinks that, like, I give Trump credit or I respect Trump. That's not what it is. Trump is a white supremacist. You know? And I just recognize we're in a different era now than we were maybe 10 years ago as far as things he does and gets away with. And I said before that I think we have to recognize that maybe the working class isn't smart enough to know what's good for them. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying it because it's probably true that maybe people just don't care about climate change. Just like people don't care about that. Maybe people stop caring about COVID-19. That, I was thinking about getting out the shower. It's like a woman being abused. And the police, her social worker, neighbors, people she works with are all like, hey, make good decisions. Don't stay with this guy who's abusing you and who's hurting you. And she's like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Can't put this nowhere. We're not bad for acknowledging that maybe she's just not ready. That doesn't say anything about us. It says nothing about me. It says nothing about anybody who, is like, okay. I mean, that to me is what Americans are right now with Trump. And I wasn't saying that he will get reelected. I'm not betting, I'm not hoping, hell no, that he gets reelected. What I am saying is that this whole era of Trumpism is not going to fall with Trump. And nor should you expect it to. That's not going to end. This whole era of white supremacy and white men going out there with arms and vests and masks, they're not going anywhere. In fact, I almost feel like if Trump stays in office, maybe he can... See, I don't look at it as he does. That come November, this will just end. This nightmare will just end. This chapter will end. I don't see that. I see this as a whole new era of white supremacy falling, but at the same time, a whole lot of white supremacy reacting. And that's bad. I don't see this as just ending with Trump. That's what I'm trying to say. I think this is bigger than that. I think that, I care more about taking the Senate and holding the House. I see more about getting Democrats reelected in governor's mansions all over the country. That's what I see. And a part of me feels like this election will be a referendum on Trump. His handling of COVID-19, his rhetoric, his disrespect, his, basically bomb throwing in the White House. That's a referendum on Trump. That's what I think. But not just Trump, this ideology of lies, this ideology of attacking everybody that you disagree with. I just think that either Americans get that's wrong and that's improper, or they don't. You understand what I'm saying? And a part of me is like, maybe Trump needs to be reelected. You know what I mean? And then that whole thing is destroyed. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at this whole thing with a much more long-term view than most people probably. You understand? I've got a much more long-term view than maybe a lot of people do. And I just don't share the ideology that, come November, Trump will be taken out, he won't be president anymore, and we'll be all dancing around the campfire, kumbaya. I don't see that. Even if Bernie was running, I want to explain what I mean, because I don't like Bernie. I love Bernie. I don't like Biden. I get mixed up. I don't like Biden. I don't. But even if my boy was running, he had a good chance of being Democratic candidate, even had a good chance of, getting to the primaries and winning, I would still say the same thing, that this, what we're looking at now, this shows something different, that we're in a different era, man. And I can't just sit here and just say, well, you know what I mean? I don't see that. I think people are dumber than you think. And as I said, that I just think we have to recognize that maybe the working class isn't there. Maybe, and that's not to say they're stupid. Not to say they're stupid, because that can change. Look at me. Look at what I used to be. I used to be a libertarian and supported Trump. I used to watch Alex Jones every day. Look at me. People can change. Movements can change or evolve. Because that's what I did. I evolved. I agree with some conservative talking points out there. And I agree with some other things about libertarianism. But I just recognized that, like, I had this conversation with a dude, I was reliable. What does libertarianism do in the face of a worldwide pandemic? And now we're in one. What does libertarianism do in the face of climate change? You understand? Libertarianism is saying, I got my money, you get yours. And you can't fuck with me. My money, I can fuck with you with your money. That's really what that says. But to go into this new progressive era we are going into, we're going to have regional government. We're going to have to support one another. And with libertarianism, I don't think that that's what's on the table. That's not even on the menu. You understand? To have a certain overlap, a certain extra medical services, extra hospital services, extra food services to prepare for chaos and contingency situations. I just think libertarianism don't fit. Libertarianism doesn't do anything in the face of emergency. Libertarianism is something when everything's going well and everybody's getting paid and everything's blue skies and open road. That's libertarianism. That's what libertarianism is. You, the only person on earth. That's libertarianism. Basically. But that doesn't work. But that's what I believed. I had money. I'm a socialist. I believe that we're in a world that's not all roads. It's not going to be always blue skies. You're going to have some very rainy days. You're going to have some big storms. You're going to have some really bad days, which is, it's what it is. Libertarianism can't do anything about that. Not long term. This is a long-term crisis that will demand a prolonged and sustained federal response. Anybody that's trying to tell you differently is pissing on your leg and calling it raining, okay? There's no way the states can handle the testing by itself. There's no way the states can do all this stuff by themselves. And anybody, like Trump, who's trying to push that narrative is a damn fool. That's crazy. Trump tells them to take care of it themselves, and then Trump talks about liberate Michigan, liberate these areas. I think it's just, once again, irresponsible. What if a copper got killed by what he said? You see what I'm talking about? I just think what he did was irresponsible. It's like everything else. Just a lack of regard for cops and people out there who are risking their lives. Like I said, we just have to recognize that people might not be smart enough to get it and know what's good for them. And I think that we just may have to realize that going into the next one, that, like Michael Brooks said, that people will come to our side because things will get so horrific. We're not there yet. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know why? Because I realize you got to make people do what's good and what's right. And I realize that sometimes if they get a respite, they think things are over with. And Trump, he feeds on that. He feeds on that idea that it isn't that bad. And everybody's telling them it'll come back. The pandemic will come back in the fall. And he's like, it may, you don't know. I mean, that's not how public officials work, guys. That's not how government works. You plan for the worst. You don't just plan for the best and, well, maybe. You know, that's you know what that is? You know what that does? That's Trump telling you that he's not even thinking about that. And he doesn't even want to talk about that. The idea that this thing come back and come back worse. That's why he said that. That's what that means. And I just think a president is not supposed to have that type of disposition. Corporations maybe, but not a president, because a president got a plan for human life being lost. You know? He does. So, peace, y'all.